Okay, so this is my very first film review, my first attempt at ever doing anything like this. So if I am on one path heading towards a point or some kind of end of some kind of story, and then I get excited and start talking about something else, you'll have to forgive me because that's just the way my mind works. But especially with films like this that I really do love, there's a lot of things to talk about, and I'm sure I'm going to forget to mention a bunch of things. I haven't made notes, which is a big screw up right there. I've just realised I've started recording and I have no notes to remind me of points that I need to make. But this film, Dog Soldiers, is one of my favourite werewolf movies. I do really like my werewolf films. Unfortunately, there's not that many good ones out there. They're quite hard to make, I guess. There's there's a lot of tricky things involved if you're going to have a werewolf film. American Werewolf in London and The Howling pretty much set the standard with transformation scenes. You've got to have a good scene like that, and nowadays it's all CG when that happens mostly, and it just doesn't, it's just not the same. But anyway, no, we're here to talk about Dog Soldiers. See what I mean? I get sidetracked. But yeah, this is just scared the hell out of me when I saw it. I saw this with my friend Phil years back when it came out. We waited. I missed it in the cinema. I remember I was on a bus. I was heading back from a friend's house, and it was late at night. And I saw the Dog Soldiers poster, the British version of the poster, which is probably what you're seeing now, if I've done the editing correctly. And you see the silhouette, of the wolf behind the soldier. And I just caught a flash of that as I was passing by a bus stop on the bus. I was kind of sleepy, wasn't really with it, and I didn't even see it. It was more in my peripheral vision, but I knew just from that little flash that there was some movie poster I just missed, and it was a new werewolf movie, and I thought, oh shit, I've got to look into that. And this is before the internet really kicked off. I mean, a lot of people had the internet, but it wasn't like it is now. Now with Facebook and all these social media sites, film buzz is crazy. There's no getting away from it. But back then, when Dog Soldiers came out, I just knew that there was something out, so I missed it at the cinema, and I really kicked myself about that. But waited a long time for it to come out on DVD, and it did seem to take a while to eventually come out in the UK to watch on DVD and video. But yeah, me and my friend Phil, we got it, we watched it, and we were just silent the whole time. We were sitting there with our beers and stuff, and I had to walk back to the bus stop from Phil's house, and there's a little mini forest. It only takes about 5 minutes to walk through it, but it is literally like a little miniature forest, and I had to walk through that on my own at night after watching Dog Soldiers. And I guess I was about 21, so old enough to know that it's just a movie, but it really did give me the creeps as I was on my way home that night, and not many werewolf films give me the creeps. So a squad of British soldiers head out into the Highlands of Scotland on a training exercise against special forces, which I believe they were all American, but you never actually get to see them, and I probably shouldn't have even told you that, but that's the most I'll go into as far as what happens plot-wise with that. Basically, it's meant to be a training exercise, and werewolves come into the mix, and when they turn up, it's just, they obviously are a force to be reckoned with. They're not dumb, they work as a team, they are intelligent, and they are also quite cruel. There's a pretty twisted scene sort of halfway through the film that kind of lets you realise that perhaps when these people turn into werewolves, they're not completely shut off. They might actually, behind the beast, there is still an awareness of what is actually going on, and thought behind what they're actually doing. There is obviously plan in their attack, but some of the things they get up to with the people they do manage to get their claws on is pretty horrific and, like I said, cruel. So these particular werewolves kind of, again, harking back to the Howling thing. They're, because in the Howling, what was it, Eddie, I think, the main werewolf? Yeah, he was pretty twisted as well. The acting from everyone in the movie is top-notch, and that's what really makes the film last for me. I can watch it again because everyone's performance is so believable. And you got to think, you can tell in the behind-the-scenes features, and especially in the commentary on the DVD for the movie, they are having they're having a real laugh. They seem like they must have been having, just pissing themselves on the set. But none of that shows on the screen. I mean, it's such a contrast. Like, you see how much fun they're having in all the behind-the-scenes stuff, but in the movie itself, everyone is on top of their game. Kevin McKidd, Totally. I wish I knew everyone's name, but yeah, everyone in the movie basically. There's no need to mention anyone in particular because honestly, everyone in this film went for it and delivered a top-notch performance. Didn't treat it like a silly movie. This is a low-budget horror movie, and it's a fucking werewolf movie because let's face it, if I'd imagine if you're a filmmaker or a writer and you go to like the executives in Hollywood and you say I've got an idea for a werewolf film, that's going to be a pretty hard pitch. I mean, it must be hard to get that kind of thing done. Maybe not. Maybe the executives are sitting around waiting for someone to come with a good werewolf idea because I guess it's a kind of universal thing, just like vampires and, all that kind of stuff. Werewolves are popular. Loads of people out there love to see the movies, but like I said, there's not that many really good ones. There's quite a few good ones, but the ones that really stand out, quite few and far between. But the acting, as I say in this film, top notch, really good. Another reason to check it out. Really cool looking werewolves. I love the design of the werewolves, the way they look. Much more of a sort of biped werewolf fan. Running around on his hind legs like a human just, makes it that much more, frightening for me. I did really like the werewolf in American Werewolf in London, even though people used to say it's just basically a big wolf. I mean, yeah, but it's still pretty damn vicious looking. You get a good look at that thing's face, and it's pretty mean. But yeah, I think Dog Soldiers and The Howling. I think The Howling would still be my number one werewolf design, but very closely followed by Dog Soldiers. Yeah, The Howling, those ears, the way they just long and pointy, just made it even more creepy. When I was a kid, I used to think, oh god, it looks like some kind of weird wolf bunny. And while we're talking about werewolves, I will also mention there is another good film that probably not a lot of people know about called Bad Moon. Now, that's another film where mostly the reason I like it so much is because the werewolf design was so awesome, and it really was a vicious, mean-looking biped werewolf that ran around tearing shit up. If you can get hold of Bad Moon, check that one out. It's got an awesome DVD front cover. I only got hold of, I had it on video taped off Sky from years ago. I think it came out in '92. But again, that's all pretty much practical. There's one CG transformation scene in the middle of the movie where you can tell it was done early in the days of CG. It doesn't hold up today at all, but it's only a short little scene. The rest of the film, Bad Moon, if you're a werewolf fan and you ain't seen it, also check that one out. I do have to mention the character Spoon. That's his nickname. His last name in the film is Weatherspoon. That guy in the movie is a legend. He has balls of steel, and he really does deliver one of the best scenes in the film. So just a quick mention there for Spoon. Also, if anyone who doesn't know about the movie sees this and gets tempted to maybe investigate the film and check it out, maybe don't watch the official trailer on YouTube first, because I didn't actually like the trailer for this film. I knew I was going to like the movie, but there's like a techno soundtrack playing through the second half of the trailer. It's quite a short trailer. I think there is only one official one, but it doesn't really represent the vibe of the film very well. Film takes place in a very sort of real environment. They're just in this, the woods out in Scotland, and it looks like the woods out in Scotland, and they have to hold up in this tiny little, it's not a cabin, just like this little home that's out in the middle of the woods. It's just in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by fog and trees, and just, it's the perfect setting for something like this. It's the perfect setting for werewolves out there in the darkness, and you're just in this little house, and you have to try and board the place up. They have to survive till basically dawn, and they get there just as it gets dark, so they have the whole night to get through. It's a really good script, and there's some of the dialogue in the film, and the character Megan is trying to explain some of these things, and she's trying to fill them in about the werewolves when they first get to this little house, this little cottage, and it's just sort of, you can tell it's sort of hitting home on their faces when she's explaining that these things are actually real and they're outside, and this is how dangerous they are. And it's quite a creepy moment in the movie, and it still is now when I watch it. Again, that's all back to the acting and how good it is, and the script. Neil Marshall, the director, I haven't mentioned him yet, but Neil Marshall, I think this is his, well, me personally, it's my favourite film he's done. I know The Descent is a much bigger film, much more sort of, people know about The Descent a lot more than they do Dog Soldiers, I believe. But The Descent is an excellent movie as well. Really claustrophobic and, creepy. There is about 1 second's worth of CG in the film, I think. Just the scene where a werewolf leaps out of a window, or bursts out of a window, and it's literally like a second long, maybe not even that. But everything else looks practical to me. All werewolf suits, animatronic heads to make everything move. People, like the old days, like with Predator and Aliens and all that stuff, just behind the scenes making these things come to life. So, like I said, if you're an Aliens fan, Predator fan, stuff like that, you will probably welcome Dog Soldiers into your heart quite naturally. Yeah, just awesome effects. Very low budget. You can tell it's low budget as you're watching it, but it doesn't. It's also apparent the whole time that they're really pushing what they have to the limits to make sure that they can do this, and you can really get the sense that people were really behind Neil Marshall on this, and he had a vision for the film, and I think he managed to pretty much get it done exactly how he probably wanted to get it done, because it has a very tense feeling pretty much from the very beginning, and doesn't really let up. It's quite a tense film. But it is a black comedy, so there is quite a lot, thanks to the squaddies, the soldiers, the banter back and forth, it's that kind of keeps it real, because in a situation like that, you would be crapping yourself, but if you were with all your boys, you probably would end up talking trash. It's got a great intro too, really kind of leaves you. It's one of those intros where it happens and then the title comes bam in your face and you kind of look at your friend and you don't say anything like, shit, this is going to be good. So thanks for bearing with me on this first review. I am sorry if it's been completely incoherent and made no sense. I do hope to get better at this, and I wanted to start with something low budget that I do still care a lot about, and Dog Soldiers is the perfect example of a film that is quite, it's not really on people's radar a lot of the time. I know a lot of people do know about this film. There are many reviews already on YouTube for this film, and a hell of a lot better than this one. But yeah, people do know about it, but there's still a lot of people out there who don't. So I urge you to go check it out, and hopefully you'll experience the film the right way, and you'll maybe pick it up cheap off eBay or something. Don't watch it on YouTube, because I know it is out there, but you shouldn't experience the film for the first time in that kind of quality. You want to be able to hear it and see it the right way. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you do watch it, and if you like it, or if you don't like it, let me know. And as I say, I hope to get better at this, and maybe I can move on to bigger films that I'd love to talk about, like maybe Taxi Driver, Batman Begins, There Will Be Blood. There's loads of movies, lots and lots of films that I'd love to talk about. I don't know if these are more discussions more than reviews, but we'll see how it turns out. I'm going to call this one a review. Not going to score the movie. I'll just tell you that I think it's awesome, and I love everything about it. And yeah, I hope you check it out. So, thanks for watching.